Like we see every year in an NBA offseason, there are good contract signings and then there are not so good contract signings. And then there are some that are just downright awful. But given I already made a video on some of the worst contract deals from this offseason so far, in today's video we're going to be following up on some of that with the best signings of this offseason. Those deals that we're going to look back on and think, how did that franchise get a steal of a deal in signing that guy? So in no particular order, let's dive into it. As always, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video, and in return, I'll be providing more NBA content like this. About 78% of you watching are not subscribed, so I would very much appreciate it in helping the channel continue to grow. Now, obviously, the offseason is not done. Some players still remain unsigned, but for the most part, the bulk of free agents have come to terms with their respective teams, and I'm sure there will be some deals that come through down the line after this recording that actually will end up becoming good deals, as those who have not been signed quite yet, generally speaking, have to settle for less than their value when cap space dries up for most teams. But for now, we'll discuss some of the best bargain deals that have been agreed upon, and we'll start with my Chicago Bulls. And I know it's going to come off super biased, which I try not to do on this channel and reserve that for my Bulls channel, but biased aside, as much as possible, I don't know how you can't say signing Javon Carter to a 3-year, $20 million deal wasn't a steal of a signing. And part of that might be more so the fact that it just fits with the Bulls in terms of their needs for shooting and defense. But even the fit aside, Javon Carter, who played for the Bucks last season, has quietly become this underrated role player that has great awareness on the court on both ends of the floor and has also become one of the better outside shooters in the NBA. Carter shot over 42% from 3 on over 4 attempts per game. That was his best shooting season on also the highest volume as well. He doesn't have much inside game, a lot of that because of his size, only 6'1", 200 pounds, doesn't have the best finishing ability when driving to the hoop, but a great floor spacer, smart passer, and above all, a really tenacious defender and hustle player on that end of the floor. For the Bulls to be able to get him at nearly half the mid-level exception at around $6.6 million a year is arguably their greatest transaction of the offseason when you consider the contract value relative to his production. The next player on this list, and I know some will disagree with this, but it's the Lakers re-signing Austin Reeves to a 4-year, $56 million deal. I was shocked to see the Lakers get Reeves this low. Now, I do agree that people have been overhyping Austin Reeves going into this offseason, and people need to stop acting like he's going to be an all-star one day, but for a lot of analysts and folks in the media, they projected that Reeves was going to be getting closer to $20 to $25 million a year on either a $90 million or $100 million contract over 4 years. And they were saying it so much that I think it convinced all of us that it was actually going to happen. $90 million over 4 years for Reeves would have been an overpay, let me be clear. But $54 million, coming in an average salary of around $14 million per year, just slightly above the mid-level exception, that's a great deal for a young player, only 25, that's actually solid on both ends of the floor and will give you effort on every possession, and also just continues to get better for a player who was undrafted and had to work his way up through the G League on two-way deals. Austin Reeves, as he currently stands, is already worth that contract. And if he can get better and better with every passing season and also factoring in the salary cap increases over the next 4 years, that contract is going to be one of the more undervalued contracts in the league by the end of it. Another bargain signing from this offseason, also made by the Lakers, was signing Gabe Vincent to a 3-year, $33 million deal. Gabe Vincent, coming off one of his best seasons since entering the league, was great in the playoffs with Miami Heat in that historic run where they went to the finals, has been a little inconsistent when it comes to his overall efficiency, but has been a decent outside shooter, and the Lakers need shooting. I like this pickup for the Lakers for bolstering up their bench, adding another scoring piece in the second unit, and they were able to get him for a mid-level deal that most people thought Vincent would be getting considerably more based on the season that he just had in Miami, and also being in his prime at 27 years old. Another guy I have on this list, and I never thought I would say this, but that's Russell Westbrook, signing a deal to stay with the Clippers to the tune of 2 years, $7.8 million. Now, to be clear, that was actually the most the Clippers were actually able to offer, considering Westbrook was coming off a min deal that he signed with the Clips after he was bought out by the Jazz. So it's not like this was some crazy negotiation or mastery done by the Clippers to get him for this amount. But regardless, Westbrook, say what you will about his shooting, the boneheaded plays he makes sometimes, tries to do too much, turns the ball over. Yeah, he has a lot of flaws, especially at this stage in his career. He's a shell of himself from what he used to be. But one thing's for sure, he's a dog on the court, and he'll always play his butt off. And for a veteran team like the Clippers to have someone like Russ who can be that spark of energy, but also provide some playmaking, scoring, and you're getting him at nearly a vet minimum deal, yeah, that's a steal of a signing. This one some people might not agree with as well, about DAngelo Russell signing with the Lakers on a 2-year, $37 million contract. The reason I think this was actually one of the better signings of the offseason is given how much people thought D'Lo was going to command and how much he was going to be all but out of LA after just trading for him at the deadline. The thought was that they weren't going to be able to afford him, given they were going to need to hand out big contracts to both Reeves and Hachimura. D'Lo was just coming off a season in which he made over $30 million. He's in the peak of his prime, a great scorer, a great shooter. Yes, he has his flaws as well, not good on defense, can be very streaky and inconsistent, case in point how he showed up in the playoffs for the Lakers. But if you strictly look at what he brings, how good he is as a player when stacking up against his peers, and you see the annual contract value he received at a little over $18 million, for his age, for his production, is a bargain. And the fact that he was okay taking a bit of a discount on a team-friendly deal has enabled the Lakers to still be able to sign guys like Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and still be able to improve on the margins with some of their other signings. I feel like this is starting to become a Lakers offseason praise fest. I can't stand the Lakers, so it pains me to do this. So yeah, let's go to another team. How about the New Orleans Pelicans signing Herb Jones to a 4-year, $56 million deal? And this might be because I'm just such a big Herb Jones fan. I like what he brings to the court. Still young, about to enter his prime, and getting him at a very team-friendly deal for a player you drafted in the second round, you hope is going to continue to get better and better. I truly believe this contract is going to look more and more favorable over time as we see Jones blossoming into one of these great two-way players in the league. I was a little concerned when the Pels declined that qualifying offer on his deal. I thought they were insane, but then realized they were doing it to re-up him on a bigger, longer-term deal, locking him in now before potentially his value gets even higher. There were some others as well, although I don't know if I would rate them as highly as the ones that I just mentioned. Again, probably a little biased, but the Bulls signing Kobe White to 3 years, $33 million. Kobe at $11 million a year is a steal when you factor in that he's coming off one of the best seasons of his career, has improved a lot of aspects of his game, most notably his ball handling, his general on-court awareness and IQ, and even his defense has gotten better as well. So for a guy most people thought he was going to be getting around 14 to 15 million a year, to re-sign him at that level is a bargain contract. Seth Curry, 2 years, $9.2 million. I mean, that's a big pickup for the Mavs on such a cheap deal for one of the better shooters in the league, a solid signing. Another one I actually thought was a good signing with the Suns, picking up Yuta Watanabe on a 1-year minimum deal. I mean, the Suns, the only way they can fill out their roster with the money they have on their books is through vet minimum deals. And the fact that they got Yuta, who was in his prime and turned himself into one of the better catch-and-shoot shooters in the NBA, to snag him at that rate, when he probably could have gotten closer to a biannual exception level deal, was great. Another vet min deal that I liked was the Nets signing Lonnie Walker. I know Lonnie Walker has had kind of a disappointing career in the NBA thus far, but I actually still have some hope for this kid. He's only 24, still pretty talented, and the Nets getting him on a 1-year deal is very good in terms of it being a low-risk, high-reward scenario if Lonnie has a breakout year. Like I said, I'm sure more bargain deals are going to come through in the coming days as free agency wraps up, but these are some of the best contract signings of the offseason, in my opinion, based on their production relative to their contract value, as well as upside potential for the future. Let me know what you guys think, whether you agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.